Hello, welcome back to the weekly forecast. We're back with our guest Angie from You, Me, and the Stars. Check her out on TikTok. We're going to go over this week's forecast. So, Mary, take it away.
Hi, guys. This podcast is basically going to be posted on the day of the eclipse, I think. The final
29th.
eclipse in the Taurus-Scorpio axis. We're definitely feeling that eclipse energy, but the most exciting thing that's happening this week is the end of the week. Saturn is finally going direct in Pisces. So that's happening on the 4th. We kind of talked about it in our previous episode. When Saturn is in retrograde, kind of when we get served karma, and when it goes direct, Saturn starts Saturning again. It's a good time to do Saturn-related things. So anything related to business, anything related to taking that leadership position at work. So wherever you have Saturn or Pisces in your birth chart is probably where you're going to feel it the most. So that's a good thing that's happening next week. We still are going to have about 5 planets in retrograde, 6 if you count Chiron. Chiron's retrograding in Aries. Pluto has gone direct and it's moving from the 27th to the 28th degree next week as well. Neptune is still retrograding in Pisces. It's at 25 degrees, and Uranus as well in Taurus. We are right in the first week of Scorpio season. So definitely feeling that Scorpio energy. I don't know about you guys.
For sure.
I'm feeling very scorpionic right now, especially with Mercury in Scorpio. So
Oh, yeah,
that's the biggest thing happening as far as planetary placements.
Lots of things are happening on the 29th when this episode is released.
So the 29th, or actually isn't the eclipse on the 28th?
Yeah.
We're having Mercury conjunct Mars opposing Jupiter.
All at once.
Oh,
Which
boy.
we were talking about this last week because it was kind of leading up to it, but it wasn't going exact, and it's finally culminating on this Sunday that this is released.
Yes.
And it's in Scorpio. I do think with conjunctions, if one of the planets is in domicile, it's going to kind of overpower the other planet.
It may be in some situations.
Ooh.
Did you guys hear about that big pileup in Louisiana that just happened yesterday? Massive.
Yeah. Is that Mars conjunct Mercury?
You're reading my mind. I mean, to me, this was kind of like, whoa, we are already kind of under that influence of that weather. Mars representing things like explosions and fires and accidents, and Mercury when they come together.
And don't Mars and Mercury represent transportation, cars? I mean, I know travel, both of them do.
Yeah. And Scorpio.
Well, all I've been focused on lately is Palestine and all that craziness happening there.
I feel like opposing Jupiter.
True, because that's like foreign travel.
Oh, yeah. Overall, this has been a very Martian month because we had all these Mars South Node contact things, and the sun was on the South Node. We had the eclipses. There's been just this overwhelming theme, with a Mars ruled North Node of accidents, division, conflict, breakup, standing your ground, being independent. It just feels like a little bit of a pressure cooker, kind of, sort of.
Yeah, and especially at the beginning of the shift out of fixed sign into cardinal sign is probably making it stronger.
Yes, I agree.
I also feel like with planets opposing Jupiter, there's always that, like, am I overdoing it or not? And with Mercury, Mars together, I think it's best to just shut up for once.
Keep your mouth shut.
Before you say something you're going to regret. Even Mercury and Mars, I consider these planetary enemies, so they don't really go well together. Usually, I feel like it can cause people to say things explosively or just go too far with things, especially with, the energy of Mars ruling anger and being in Scorpio. I think you can easily just see red and go too far or hit below the belt.
That's funny because I posted something that was pretty harsh, but I don't regret it. But it was out of character.
Well, it's that energy. It's, I'm going to say this and I don't regret it. Like
I don't regret it.
Because, Scorpio can be pretty vengeful. And with the North Node being in Aries, it's just the vibe. It's literally the vibe.
I wonder if we're going to see some incidences of really bad road rage, like fatal road rage with Mercury and Mars together opposite Jupiter. Oh, you cut me off, escalating things quickly, especially in Scorpio, feeling very, I was in the right, you're going to pay.
Or even fatal, like you said, because Scorpio. Drive safely if you have to be driving. If not, just on that day in specific is when it goes exact on the 29th. But we're going to be feeling it all week, kind of as as it separates as well. We're also having the Sun opposing Jupiter exact on Saturday the 4th, the day that Saturn goes direct. So Sun opposite Jupiter, I feel like, isn't as bad as Mars opposite Jupiter. I feel like that's going to be an easier energy to deal with, but Venus opposite Neptune also is happening on the 4th. So this could be tricky regarding relationships, seeing what we want to see in relationships, but also we could just get deceived in general with Neptune and Venus opposing each other. I would say on that day, don't make any rash decisions about your relationships, because more than likely you're not seeing the situation clearly. Also, we're having Venus sextile Mercury. That's a nice influence. That's going to be happening throughout the week. Neptune trine Mercury as well. That's a good one. Uranus opposing Mercury is also going to be happening throughout the week. Definitely lots of Mars Mercury energy going on next week. So
Neptune to confuse us.
Let's remember that Mercury can also represent news and information. We can look at a lot of things that are already going on now. We can have confusion around the information that we're getting or what's being reported, things around that bad news with the Mars conjunction being delivered. There's also those significations around Mercury.
I'm looking at the Sun opposite Jupiter. The thing is that Jupiter is retrograde in this scenario. We mentioned in the retrograde episode, it's about how retrograde planet can take a planet that's normally sitting kind of nice and kind of give it an edge that maybe it's not sitting or expressing itself quite so nicely. So we might see Sun opposite Jupiter still bringing us some kind of benefit. With Sun opposite Jupiter retrograde, we've got a little bit different spin on what we'd normally see with that opposition. And Jupiter retrograde on an everyday basis, it's this energy like we can't fake it till we make it when Jupiter's retrograde. It's a lot harder to play a role or to fake, like put on a smile because we need to make money or because we need to do something. It feels very inauthentic. When Jupiter's direct, it's a little bit easier to do. With that retrograde and seeing that Sun opposition, it almost feels like for some of us, we might have a male or maybe a boss or somebody in our life where they're standing across from us. You know what I mean? And we're feeling like, I can't play nice with you right now. Libra's on the South Node, underlining that. I can't save your feelings right now. I can't put on a smile just to make this situation better. I just can't do that right now. That might kind of bring some stuff up. I'll be curious to see the level of politics, how that can play out, because I think we're really seeing a lot of politicians kind of falling from grace. And I think that some of this stuff, like you brought up the news portion of this, and I kind of wonder if we're just going to keep hearing more and more about these politicians falling from grace.
Yeah, especially too when Mercury opposes Jupiter, Mercury and Mars, because it's that energy too of like truth. Jupiter, Sagittarius versus Mercury, Gemini, what's propaganda, what's kind of like, not lies, but whatever's being spread about something versus the actual truth. I think that's also going to kind of trigger some things to come out about people as well. Even in your own personal life, maybe you might discover an uncomfortable truth. It's going to be an interesting week. And we're also feeling the eclipse energy still throughout the week. It's still pretty intense, especially in Scorpio season where everything feels intense in general. We're definitely feeling lots of intense feelings this week, which is okay. So if things like anger come up for you, and it's best to just kind of treat and slow down and, don't act in a rash way, which can be hard because of the South Node being in Libra and the North Node being in Aries and Mars being in domicile. So it's very much like that. No, I'm going to do this and I'm going to say this and I'm going to just go and do without thinking. Slow down, take a deep breath. Think about what you're going to do or say. You might feel otherwise once you actually think about it. That's the energy of the week.
How everything's happening at the beginning and the end. Like everything that's going exact. Is it Sunday or Saturday?
Yeah, it's like two major surges of energy. So it should be an interesting week. I personally think that with eclipses, they're very chaotic in general. Unpredictable things are going to happen, and that's eclipse energy in general. Keep an open mind and maybe not an open mouth, but, just think before you speak.
Good advice.
I thought it was also interesting that talent is conjunct Pallas all week. So Pallas is creative wisdom, and then they're conjunct with talent. So there's like creative wisdom, extra ability, I feel like. Also, Mercury conjunct Ceres, so that's like very maternal energy. And
Nurturing
add a
with
little
like through
sprinkle
your
in there.
words.
If there's nurturing through the words, we have that Venus sextile Mercury to help with that.
Even Neptune sextile Mercury too. This
If
kind
you
of that energy.
if you put the effort into it. So I guess that's also the message is try to put some effort into keeping things cool. I mean, I think the thing though about Scorpio is Scorpio can be very strategic, like really harsh.
Calculated.
So
No,
maybe
you don't say.
maybe back off of that a little bit if you can.
Well, Mercury in Scorpio too. I mean, you don't take anything at face value. I feel like there's always, you want to dig deeper, and that energy of like the investigator is very Mercury in Scorpio.
I saw this other astrologer that I'm friends with on TikTok yesterday. She posted this story where she was like telling the people in her comments, obviously you didn't listen to the end of my video because you come back and you say all these things. And she's like, she's got Mercury in Scorpio. And I just commented, I was like, they caught you on your Mercury return. Just be aware of this kind of energy because Mars is happy to get out of Libra now and into this comfort zone. And reason that Mars is at home in Scorpio, even though it's a water sign, is because it can cool off a little bit, access that aggression from a deeper place instead of like being inflamed with air and, you know, just going erratic. So there's a lot that Scorpio can do, especially with Mars there, thinking about all that stuff. I'm sorry, Scorpios, please just like chill. Chill this
I feel like people are gonna just tell who they need to tell to go F themselves, and sometimes you just have to. Right. So if this is your opportunity to stand up to a bully or someone that you just need to speak your piece, you're probably going to, because there's so much Mars energy in the North Node leading the way. It's just going to happen. I mean, I think people with Libra placements, like I know myself with Libra moon, I am not feeling very Libra at all anymore with this Aries North Node. It's almost like my moon has been completely eclipsed, and it's not even close.
Literally.
Yeah, it's not even close to my moon though yet. Probably more so for you, Angie, because yours like at 21 degrees.
Right on my moon.
I'm telling people to go F themselves if that's what I need to do. Like the Libra moon is not non-existent anymore for me. So that's just the energy that we're dealing with right now. So it can be utilized in a good way. And I feel like if you do need to stand up to someone, or you're having verbal altercations or whatever it is, probably is something that needed to be said. Don't be too hard on yourself, because you can only fight the energy for so long, especially with Scorpio energy. Sometimes you just have to act. Yeah, I think that pretty much covers it for the week. Should be an interesting week. Don't kill anyone and you'll be okay. I'm also having the eclipse on my Mars, so I'm pretty sure that was kind of more directed towards myself.
Thanks for joining in. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.